So I wanted to add something to the conversation that's going on about egregores. For a very long time, I have talked about this on my channel, and really, my channel was conceived of and began to flesh out my thoughts on this subject because I've, for a very long time, asked Christians, like, what are you worshiping? Because I began to realize that I had actually assumed that all religious peoples of different sects were like had a uniform belief about what they were all uniformly worshiping, and that it wasn't as for example that what we see in Christianity is where you have 40,000 different isms, and each person, as I've spoken to you all at length, is to a certain extent may be worshiping something different from the collective of all of Christendom, and then maybe something more similar to their regional egregore, or the God who their church and or their region, what they see as God is. And so it seems overcomplicated, but I think you can go back and watch the video. The video is on this topic. Just Google it. Not Google it, I'm sorry, search it here on TikTok. And I think I'll attach a video that's also addressing it. And I think she's kind of talking a very simplified version of what I'm talking about. She's referring to a very simplified version of it. And I think what people have to realize is that people don't understand. So a couple of videos back, I did a 9 minute video in which I said that humans are a lot more powerful than they realize, and that there are phenomena, and then I also mentioned that, as I have always taught on my channel, well, for quite some time, that reality is more expansive than you think, and that human beings need to begin to call in their power, and they need to stop externalizing their power and giving away their power and their will to the thing that they're worshiping, and begin to call back into themselves the power that they have, and that is really theirs. I've said that as a part of my ongoing discussion about the fact that human beings don't realize that what they're worshiping, they're empowering. And so part of what I've been talking about, and I believe you can go back at least for the past year plus, and even in January, I've restated that, how, where I was talking about, or the beginning of this year, I was talking about how people who voted, and I'm just going to use this as an example, people who voted MAGA and for Republicans, they voted in a way that they thought they had prepared a poison that someone else is gonna that their vote that sorry, I'm tired. They prepared a poison that someone else is gonna eat, but what you were gonna see, and what you're gonna see, is that they're eating that poison, and that has become true. But what I want you all to also keep in mind, as we are all deconstructing and talking about like egregores, you need to understand, and you need to keep in mind just how powerful a human is. If you go back to my last video about the intersection between neurodivergence and supernatural capacities, extrasensorial capacities, you need to digest that video, because it's very much so. There are parts of it that have been I and I will continue to teach to help human beings understand that you're a great deal more powerful than you think. And what has been done is that you, for whatever reason, were taught to externalize your power, to give up your own autonomy, your own authority, your own ability to self-govern, and to give it to something that most of you can't see, you can't hear, you can't perceive of. All you have is what another human or a series of humans has come into agreement that exists. And you have enslaved and yourself, and you are constantly, as they say, dying to yourself, in lieu of turning to the self, examining the self, correcting the self, ameliorating your own character, and also growing your own personal autonomy and power and authority, and you're educating yourselves. Instead, you're all fighting alertness through the anti-woke movement. You're fighting, and what people don't realize, and the reason why Black people are always the lungs, the liver, the head, the unseen head of humanity, because we sit at the intersection of the people who we can't afford to accept the lies that people are believing, that like white supremacy enables them to believe in order that they will feel comfortable with making other people suffer. And so I'll try not to go through all of this again, because I've talked about this. People's willingness, if humanity wants to survive, it has to be willing to forego what it feels is a right to make someone else suffer in order to put off its own suffering. So I think it's very, very timely. See if I can draw this video to a close. It's very, very timely, this discussion. And it seems more interesting or spicy and more esoteric than it is. The problem is that humanity has been taught to externalize things as esoteric, egregores, things created by the power of human thoughts. And they've been taught to spiritualize something that's a normal human phenomenon. It's why on my channel I consistently say I've tried to come up with a way for us to begin to despiritualize and to recontextualize like things that are natural and germane to the human existence and existence here on planet Blue, on the earth. That's not actually supernatural. It's just something that humans can do. And they've always been taught that humans are, it's not humans who are doing this, like the creation of a unified belief, creating an egregore and an egregore, being and doing and reacting, and then being able to actually interact with and commune with that egregore. But people see that as something that is spiritual, and when they do that, they give away their power, and they fail to understand what it is to be human, what a human is capable of. And when you do that, you cut yourself off at the knees, your ability to begin to perceive reality. And that is what I have been teaching on my channel, is to get everyone to begin to understand that reality is a lot more expansive than you think. And until you can begin to perceive reality, and until you begin to be committed to deconstructing all of the nonsense that humans have decided are true but really aren't, and until you have begun to seek to save yourself and sort of, instead of giving your agency and power away to something else, things aren't gonna change. Technically they're slated, and this is coming from what I teach on my channel, which is there are just some of us who can access more information than others. Things are slated to become more chaotic, okay? And part of this chaos, one of the things that's supposed to be birthed through this chaos, is a trial. All of your egregores are going to be put to task. Okay, so if this is a god and this is a and suspend for yourselves 1 second the question of who is doing it. You need to pay attention to the trials that are going on. So if you want to believe in all of your little egregores and all the things that you have created, okay, so let's put it to task, because there are things that that exist, who understand very much so what a human is, its limitations, and how far you can push it to get it to evolve. Right? I've been trying to explain what's going on as a process of evolution. And it's the opportunity for human beings to have their beliefs tested. It's well known that we're not going to be able to fix the cultist, right? That the cultists aren't going to be able to be, their beliefs, when they're tested, they're just going to double down on the belief. But many of you, when you see your egregore fail, it's going to be because of you and those like you who don't have the power to withstand, to fight, or to fix the things that your egregores are gonna be confronted with. And when your gods are confronted and they fail, deconstruct.